This show brought to you by Read the Play, Promoted Trophy and Clothing Company, Kempe International, De Grande Cycle and Sport.
Welcome back to Geelong Junior Football and Netball here on this Friday morning. Hope you're enjoying your breakfast. As we're joined on the couch this morning in the studios by a man who has got a very dedicated approach and understanding of Geelong Junior Football and, in fact, the Drysdale Hawks Football Club. Very warm welcome to their junior coordinator, Mr. Neville Daffy. Good morning, Neville, and welcome.
Graham, how are you? Thank you very much for that.
Pleasure to be here with, well, how long have you been involved with Drysdale Hawks now, Neville?
Probably through the early days of the Vic kick. It's probably up around 14 years now or so. There's a couple of years there where I concentrated on the basketball scene, but extremely heavily involved now.
And heavily involved down at Drysdale Hawks land. You've got, 216 sides, 2 under 14 sides, you've got 2 under 12 sides and 3 under 10 sides. So
That's correct.
Plus your Auskick.
That's correct.
So you've got a fantastic junior program.
I think all in all there's probably about 280 kids that we've got actively involved down there. So it certainly keeps our hands full, but extremely enjoyable.
And obviously you've got a lot of volunteers supporting you in running those teams.
We've got a very core group down there that is extremely willing to put the time in week in, week out. And you have to have that happen, because if it was left to too few, it would become a very arduous task.
And I suppose it's one of the strengths of Ballerine Football League is that with each club associated with an individual town and surrounding township, you've got a very strong community base to work from.
I think the football club, and for that point, any sporting club, gets to form a huge partnership with the local community. And I suppose we're probably pretty special because you get to represent your town by the people that live there.
Now you're also involved in coaching as well as coordinating.
Correct, the under 16 side. Been with the majority of these boys now for the last 3 years, and we're slowly building, and the boys are playing some good football, but I think at the end of the day they're really enjoying their time there at the club, which is important.
And viewers, to further establish the credibility base of Neville Daffy, he recently coached the Geelong Junior Football under 14 interleague side in their match against Northern Districts, and successfully too.
That's correct. That was an absolute privilege. Through the last couple of years I've been involved down there as the assistant coach with Barry Orvis. Barry stepped aside this year and he was my 2IC, and once again a thoroughly enjoyable experience.
Now all of this involvement, Neville, streams into what we talk about in this segment, the Read the Play program, drugs, alcohol, and what has become very, very increasingly community awareness in recent weeks, unfortunately in Geelong, is the world of mental awareness. How is Drysdale handling and working progressively with the Read the Play program?
We ran Read the Play last year for our under 16 group. I'm sure the under 15 netballers did it as well. And we're certainly about to run this year's program within the next 2 weeks as well. We've got a dedicated volunteer who's a clinical nurse who will run the program for us.
And she has gone away and done the mentor training.
She has.
With the Read the Play clinicians, goes back to the club, passes on that information, and so the cycle begins.
Correct. Correct. We got some good feedback last year from the parent group. They thought it was all extremely positive, and we want to continue to develop that this year.
And how have you found the acceptance of the junior kids that the program is aimed at? Is there a strong awareness and an understanding, like I suppose in a school teacher fashion, that they sit up and take attention?
They do, but you try to present it in a different light because they've got the pressures of schools. So you try to make the club experience a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit more relaxed. And I think if you've got that kind of environment, they do accept it a little bit more.
And it's got such, unfortunately, such vital issues that we've had in recent weeks with some youth suicides as a result of mental awareness programs, and it's when you hear those sad sides of the story that the positives of programs like Read the Play start to surface.
They sure do, because you are very quick for the newspapers to put in all the bad stories, but believe me, for every bad story there are 10 times more good stories going on there with children being involved in sport.
Now, with the amount of juniors you've got, over 200 in the under 16, under 14, under 12, under 10 and your Auskick program, obviously a lot of families involved, there'd be a lot of communication, a lot of camaraderie. Do you see that as an essential base to the success of junior programs, which would include the understanding and acceptance of Read the Play?
Has to happen, because you just can't get along these days with the football club being the main focus. It goes wider than that for the community base, and certainly communication on these things gets to be extremely important.
And of course, it also works on the netball side. We know that the Drysdale Hawks netball girls play in the Ballina District Netball Association, but they're still part of the club and still part of understanding and being involved in Read the Play programs.
Exactly. Pam Rawson runs the program down there, and she has done for the last 2 seasons, and I think they may have already done theirs during the last couple of weeks as well, but that's extremely important as well.
Yes, Pam Rawson is a member of the steering committee of the Read the Play program, which is a great program here in our great city of Geelong that concentrates on using the world of junior sport, in this case junior football and netball, for the awareness of drug and alcohol and mental awareness, which has certainly risen its head in the last couple of weeks. Neville Daffy, thank you very much for your time this morning. All the very best to you and your club for the rest of the season. Keep up the great work.
Much appreciated, Graham. Pleasure to be on here, mate.
As we go to a break on the Geelong and Junior Football and Netball Show here on Channel 31.
This show brought to you by Read the Play, Promoted Trophy and Clothing Company, Kempe International, De Grande Cycle and Sport.